Is it recording now? So yes, it is recording. So I'm just going to share with you my screen. Okay, here we are. Now, our unit, Unit 6, is all about health, safety, and well-being in care setting. So do we know what's the health safety regulation? Okay, there's someone joining. That's Madonna. Morning, Madonna.
Good morning.
Hello. Okay, do you know anything about the health and safety in a care setting? How you take care of the health and safety of yourself, of the people you work with? What's the legislation regarding the health and safety? Do we know? Okay, so in the UK, sorry, can I just check? Can you see my screen? Can you see the legislations in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So in the UK, we have many regulation and legislation about the health and safety. Why? Because health and safety is very important subject. Yes. In the care home, for the child care, for the health and social care, in the hospitals, everywhere. Okay, so as a start, there are many regulations. So let us start. First one is Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. What is it all about? It is the base of all current health and safety legislations in the UK, and it's enabling act. It enables other health and safety regulation to be made. Okay, so it is very, very important. This the first one, which is Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. It enables the Health and Safety Executive as regulator for health and safety and welfare of people in work setting. So it is an enabler regulation. It aims to produce health and safety for everyone in the work setting, and it is establish key duty and responsibilities of all employees, anyone who work in the care setting. So this is the most important one, which is Health and Safety Act at Work, Act 1974. The second one we have, which is Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulation 1999. So what is it all about? It requires the employees and the manager to assess and manage risk by carrying out risk assessment. We said before that we have to do risk assessment all the time. Why? Because we need to make sure that if we do any activities for the elderly people, it should be safe. The environment always should be safe. So this particular act, which is Management of Health and Safety at Work Regulation 1999, it requires employees and managers to assess and manage risk by doing risk assessment. It requires work setting to have arrangement in the care setting for people to manage general health and safety. For example, the managers in the care setting, it enables them to manage the health and safety. It requires also the work setting to have a procedure, policy for the emergency and for the health and safety. It requires employees to provide information, training. They have all of them to have training about health and safety. So for you to work in a care setting, they will provide you with training for health and safety, for manual handling, for so many things, for first aid. Why? Because of these regulations. Yeah. And also, we have Workplace Health and Safety and Welfare Regulations 1992. What is it all about? It requires workplaces to be environmental where risk to general health and safety is minimized. So it requires all the care setting to minimize risk as much as they can. And also concerned with health and safety of working environment, the temperature, the lighting, the ventilation. Is it all suitable for the people who work and the people you're taking care of? And also it concerns about the safety of the building. Are the windows are opened regularly to get fresh air? Can you close it properly so there is no thieves coming? Is there any slippery floor? This is all in the regulation. And also it concerns with the safety of the facility. So there are separate area for the employees to eat, separate and drink, and also availability of a clean and well-lit toilets for the staff and for the people who we are taking care of. And it concerned with the safety of the housekeeping, the availability of a clean environment, ensure spillages are always cleaned regularly and immediately. So all this concerns with this regulation. We have also Manual Handling Operation Regulation 1992. What's it all about? It requires risk to be assessed with moving and handling activities, so we can minimize the risk. For example, for the employers to avoid hazard activities, so they don't lift heavy items without training on manual handling. Why? Because they might hurt their back. They might not hold it very well and then they break the item. So most important thing for the organization is the people who work there. They should be always safe. They should be always healthy. That's why the manual handling should be given to everyone, all of them. And it requires the employers to provide information, training, supervision for the safe moving and handling of the equipment of the people from one position to another position. Another regulation that we have is Provision and Use of Work Equipment Regulation 1992. What is it all about? It is concerned with the safety of work equipment. So the equipment should be always working, no faulty equipments. We should always make sure the equipments are all clean, and also require the employees to receive a proper training so they can use it properly. They don't hurt themselves or hurt others. And also require the work equipment to have visible warning sign. So if you're not training on these equipment, then you shouldn't do it. So it requires all these equipments to have visible warning sign. Also, we have Lifting Operation and Lifting Equipment Regulation 1998. So what is lifting operation? It is concerned with the safety of the lifting equipments which you use at work, the care for them. Also, it requires lifting equipment to be maintained and used solely for the purpose which was produced for, so that you can't use, for example, paper cutter to cut food, or so you need to use each lifting equipment for its right purpose. So there are lifting equipment for the people and also It needs to be used properly. You can't use it to lift any materials, or because they are only specifically used for people. And also, it requires that lifting operation must be planned, supervised. So not anyone can come and do the lifting operation. It should be a specific person who had proper training to do this, and also there would be a supervisor who's monitoring this lifting. Why? Because if you do the lifting incorrectly, you're gonna hurt your back, you're gonna hurt the people's back. Like any person who you are lifting, you're gonna give them a pain as well. So you need to done properly, planned, and also properly supervised and maintained. Other regulation, personal protective equipment at work. So that's for the PPEs. We know there was the PPEs. Do you know what's the PPEs, ladies? Yeah?
PPE, personal protective clothing.
Very good, personal protective equipment. So can you please explain to the rest of the class what, like any examples of the personal protective equipment?
Apron, gloves,
Yeah.
mask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well done, thank you. Gloves, apron, mask, maybe face shield, anything protect you when you do caring for people, maybe when you do cleaning, any spillages or anything. It all you called PPEs. And now we are more aware of the PPEs. Why? Because of COVID. So we all wearing this at some stage. So what about this regulation, which is Personal Protective Equipment at Work Regulation 1992. It is concerned with the provisional of personal protective equipment. It requires employees to provide these PPEs for free of charge for the employees. So the employees should always wear it as soon as they find it provided by the employees. And it requires training to be provided about how to use the PPEs in the right way, when to use it as well. Like you can use the gloves, you have to use the gloves when you dispose some body liquids like blood, urine. You have to use it when there is spillages on the floor and you don't know what's the reason for these spillages. So you need specific training about when and how to use these PPEs as well. Regulation, which is reporting of injuries, diseases, and dangerous occurrence regulations 2013. So what's all about is require the employer to report and record for the and keep record of all 3 years any related work accident, any disease, any injuries has happened in the workplace. They should report it and also record it. And these records should be kept at least 3 years. It requires work setting to have a procedure in place about how to record it, when to record it, and there is a form for accident to fill it. And also it requires the employer to provide information, training for the people. If there is any injuries or diseases and you never had any training, you're stuck because you don't know how to deal with it. So it require the employer to provide excellent training for the people. So there are other ones as well. There is control of substance hazardous to health. So what is it all about? It requires the employer to carry out risk assessment. We said risk assessment is very important, always should be done. And it classifies the hazard and its type, like very toxic, harmful. So all these different division for the same hazard should be done as well. Is it too harmful? Is it very toxic? We need to mention that about any risk when we do our risk assessment. And also, it requires the employer to have procedures in place for safety working. So any hazard you need to wear. So there is a specific procedure in every care home or any care organization or agency. For you, you need to wear the PPEs at all times. You need to do the risk assessment. So all these is the procedure for health and safety. Also, it requires the employer to provide information, training for the employees is very, very important. And monitor the workers when they do any practice, monitor them, supervise them until they learn. And there's also electricity at work regulation 1989. It concerns ensuring that electricity and electrical equipments which used in any care home are always regularly maintained. There is no faulty equipment there. Why? Because if you use any faulty equipment, you would hurt yourself, you would hurt the other people, you might make a fuse in the building. So you need all these equipments need to be suitable for using, no faulty there. And it requires electric equipment to be installed in safe hands, like there is a trusted electrician to do the installation, certified one. And also it requires the employer to provide training for the employees how to use these electric equipments. Shouldn't be just having a new equipment, put them there and ask the employees to use them. They should provide proper training. How about regulatory for fire safety 2005? What is it all about? It requires a fire risk assessment to be completed by the person responsible. So there is a person responsible about fire safety in all care settings, and they need to always maintain risk assessment. It requires fire equipment to be always maintained. So we have fire extinguisher in the building, should be always checked. Like there are some people, you call them and say, we have fire extinguisher in the building, it's been not used for a year now, could you please come and check it? So they come check it, certify it. So it needs to be properly maintained. And also it require the fire escape or fire exit to be always provided, to be always clear. There is no boxes which prevent people from coming out, no items in the way. And also we need to provide training for the employees so they know where exactly the gathering point if there is any fire risk happening. Food Safety Act, that's very important. I'm sure you all know what is Food Safety Act. Why? Because you should all have this training when you start your care work. So what is Food Safety Act 1990? Good personal hygiene to be maintained. When you prepare food, the surface should be clean. You shouldn't be putting cooked food with non-cooked food. Also required to keep record of the food, so nothing expired should be given to the clients. And required to food to be safe. If there is any incident, make sure the food is always hygienic and clean and safe when it is provided to the clients. There's also Food Hygiene Regulation 2006 about food safety hazard identified, and also if we identify the risk, we eliminate it, we minimize it. An environment of food prepared should be always keep clean and in good condition. Also, Civil Contagious Act 2004. What is it all about? So the organizations must work together and to plan and record to local national emergencies. They should establish how organization what's the emergency procedure, how they work on it. Is there any risk assessment involved? So all this, the organization should always monitor the risk assessment. Is there any risk involved? Then should work on it.
Lana, so we should write about all of these?
Yeah, so what do you do? So let me go back to the question. Where is it's here. Identify legislation relating to general health and safety in care work setting. So what if I was doing this course instead of you? What I would do, I would put bullet points for all these regulations and just put maybe 1-2 lines just to explain what did I understand about this legislation.
Okay. Yeah.
Not too much. I just need everything, all these legislations, just maybe 1-2 lines, just explain what it's all about. Do you understand it? Yes, I understand it. That's why I'm writing some notes about it. Yeah? Okay. Excellent, thank you. And there is the last one, I think this is the last one. So the last one is Health and Safety Care, Safety and Equality Act 2015. So this is all about adult social care providers. They must share information about personal care with other health organization professionals. Adult social care also organizations should use any identification for the people, like national NHS number. It is very important, and it reduces the risk of harm or abuse by making provision or removing people. So what we need to identify people using the identifier of the NHS number. Yeah. So this is all the regulation, as we said. All we need, just write in bullet points, what are these regulations? Maybe just 2 lines to explain a little bit about each one of them, just to show the awarding body that you understand them. You don't just copy them and paste them from the book. No, you understand what it's all about. Now to answer question 1.2. So 1.2, it says outline the main points of health and safety policies and procedures agreed with the employer. So what's the main point? Can you think about? So in every care setting, we have policy and procedure. Yes, these policy and procedure, they are set by the management of the organization. We have, as people who work in care, for us, we need to comply with these policy and procedure. Health and safety is one of them. It's very, very important one. So for us, we need to keep the workplace always safe. We need to keep ourselves safe. We need to take care of our clients and make sure they are safe. We need to know what we do in the emergency, if there is any fire, if there is any food hazard, what we should do. So we need lots of training. So an employer with in the workplace, if they have like 5 employees or more, they require to have health and safety policy. Yes, so these policies, the purpose of them to keep us safe, to keep the workplace safe, and to keep our clients safe. And who's responsible about these health and safety policies? To follow them? All of us, all the employees. Yes, the employees and the management, everyone is responsible to follow these health and safety regulations, policy and procedures, sorry. And there is always should be arrangement in a place for about health and safety to follow these policies. Yeah, so we need always to have a procedure. So what's the difference between policy and procedure? Do we know? Policy is like rules. So for example, if you work in a care home, the policy is to make sure that you do lifting properly for the manual handling, you use the right equipment at all times. Then the procedure, it's all about how to do the manual handling, how to follow these policies, yeah? So step by step about how to do it. You put this, you do that. This is the procedure, things to follow step by step to get where you should be, yeah? So how about, so why health and safety policies and procedures are important? Because it removes risk or enable us to manage risk, yeah? It reduces the risk in any organization. It's very well, it's not going to be eliminated completely, but it would reduce it. Like any injuries, any accident, any illnesses. So that's why there is policy and procedure in place. It's very important to have one. So now if I want to answer, outline the main point for health and safety policy and procedure agreed with the employer. So what's the main point for us? Main point of the policy and procedure that for every care setting, the management should produce a clear policy to be followed by the employees about health and safety. And for the employees to follow these policies, to follow these procedure, and a procedure to like step-by-step process of how we can follow the policies to the exact, yeah? And why do we have them? We have the policy and procedure to protect ourselves, to maintain a very healthy and safe environment, and also to protect ourselves and protect others from any injuries, accident. So for the employees, their responsibilities is to create the health and safety policy, and for us, we need to read these health and safety policy and ensure that we follow the procedure. If we don't know anything, we need about these policies and procedure. When we start work, our responsibility is to ask our manager to explain it to us, or maybe ask him or her, where is the policy and procedure? Do you have them on the website? Do you have them in other places? So this is our responsibility. We need to discuss with them the policy and procedure. And so your act and your work there always clear and right. And also we need not only discuss it, we need to learn it. If we don't know anything about it, then maybe ask your manager for training. It's very, very important. So this is to answer question 1.2. Now, question 1.3, outline the main health and safety responsibilities of self. So of self, this means you. What's your responsibility? So here you need to talk about yourself. Yeah? So what's your responsibility? What's your self-responsibility? And the health and safety regulation. So if I was going to answer this question, I would say my responsibilities as a care worker under the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974 is to take responsibility, care of myself, and also the health and safety of the people I care for, and for the environment that we are working in. And so part of my duties is to report any hazard, any faulty equipment, any water floor. I need to take care of it and wipe the spillages, and also ensure that my clothing, dress does not have any dangerous things there, like I don't wear jewelries because it might hurt people, or maybe it's not even hygienic because germs can live underneath these jewelries. And also my responsibilities is to take reasonable care about myself and about others as well. So as an example, if I'm not going to work, if I have a flu, if I have any illness, if I suspect any COVID, I don't go to work, and I need to inform the management so they can bring people, other people to take care of my clients. And if my condition worsen, I wouldn't be going to work. I would be informing the management as well. So this is your responsibility. Also, cooperate with I cooperate with my manager at all times. If there is any training I need about health and safety, I would ask for my training. And the understanding of I always make sure I understand all the policy and procedure from day one at work. If not, I would ask my manager to confirm for me. Otherwise, this would pose danger on the people. And also my responsibilities, if they provide me with first aid, I would take the training. Always make sure there is first aid facilities, so I know where it is. If someone has hurt himself or herself, I know how to deal with it. And also I know how to use any facilities in the area properly. Like I wash always my hands, I always dry my hands, I always use PPEs if needed. I always know how to use the equipment properly. If I don't know, I always ask my manager for training. I take reasonable care of the safety of myself and safety of the people I work for. And also, if there is any accident, I go immediately and report it to my manager or my supervisor, so we can eliminate any hazard can happen to the clients. So this is your responsibilities. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So this is when you answer this question where it says self, that's mean your responsibility. And the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, what's your responsibilities? You start talking about, you need to talk about all this, like in a brief way. So but you need to talk about them, like You need always to make sure you use the right PPEs if you deal with the spillages or body fluid, or you need to make sure, or even mopping, you need to always wear right PPEs. You need to take reasonable care for yourself and others. Make sure there is no dangerous equipment on the any fire exit, so people can leave the area as soon as possible if there is any fire hazard. My response. So always you say my, because it says self, yeah. So you need to say my responsibilities in the care home is following the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, and I follow it by the below. And then you start talking about your responsibilities, yeah? How about the other part of the question? I need you to start, you do it yourself. So what's the employer or manager responsibilities? What do you think your manager would be? What's your manager responsibilities? So my manager responsibilities under the Health and Safety Act 1974 is, can you tell me?
Providing a workplace that is safe for everyone.
Excellent. So first of all, we need a safe environment for everyone. There is no hazard, no dangerous equipment, no faulty machine, no damaged wheelchair.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Very good. Any other things you can think of?
Like training, if you need training.
Very good.
Yeah.
So other things, they always have the employer. My employer should always provide training, supervision, mentoring to the people about health and safety.
Yes.
Very good, excellent. And also they have to create health and safety policy and procedure at work. Is very important. Can you think about other responsibilities? Is there a responsibility to do risk assessment? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
So my manager's responsibility should be always doing a risk assessment. Make sure that the environment is clean, is clear of any danger, any harmful things could happen, and take the necessary action to reduce these harmful things if there are. Like, also my manager's responsibility is to make sure that the environment is good for workers, like good lighting, good air, fresh air, good good fire exits provided. Any other things you can think of? Yes, guys? Like Federica, what do you think? What's the responsibility of your manager?
Like protective clothes.
Very good. Providing PPEs at all times so people can wear like protective gloves, protective face mask. Very good. A protective apron. Also, they have safety signs like the yellow sign where it asks people to be careful if there is any spillages or any water on the floor.
Yes.
Also to provide first aid training, first aid facilities, box for first aider, a room for first aider. So if someone slipped and hurt himself or herself, you can't just leave them sitting in the living room of the center. You need a proper room for that, a proper box for the proper facilities, proper person who's trained on first aider. Also, they need to provide adequate welfare facilities, like proper hand washing facilities, proper area to prepare food and drink. Yeah? Any other things you think of? Madonna? Federica, Madonna, can we please get any comments from you?
Pardon?
Yeah, can you think about what's the responsibility of your manager? Because we talked, like Miriam has spoken about quite a few responsibilities. Can you provide other responsibilities for your manager in the care home under the health and safety regulation?
Always health and safety.
Follow the health and safety. Very good. Put a policy and procedure in place.
Yes, any dangerous or maybe put the sign if there is any wet floor or something. Yeah.
Very good. Provide these signs to make sure if there is any
dangerous
thing to be avoided. Very good. Also assessing the risk. If there is any risk of injuries, they need to assess the risk. They need to do proper risk assessment. Follow the procedure, how to deal with that. Yeah. They need proper equipments in the area. So when they do, for example, people lifting, it needs to be proper lifting equipments. Otherwise, people would hurt themselves. They hurt their back. And also proper facilities, like for hand washing, for toilets, for food preparation. It's all need to be proper facilities. Very good, excellent. So this is to answer the employer or the manager. How about other in the work setting? What's the responsibilities of others? Also, we haven't spoken about, this is one of the management responsibility as well. So if there is any accident or injury or disease happened in the workplace, in the care home, they should be reported to the professional organization. You need to report it properly to the authority. Yeah. So this is for the employees. Let us go and look for others. What's the responsibilities of others? So any other people. So we talked about your responsibility as self for you as a person, and also we spoken about your manager's responsibilities. Now what's other people responsibility, like other employees? So under the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, the other people in the work setting, they are responsible for. Can you think about things that they are responsible for? Like you just started working in a care home. What's your responsibility? First of all, is to ask where is the policy and procedure. Second thing is to follow this is for others, so this is for everyone. They need to follow the policy and procedure. So for example, if there are visitors, they always need to wash their hands before they get in, maybe use sanitizer or give them gloves. It depends on the procedure of the area. Is it for What's the procedure? You just need to follow. Also, you need to have a book to ask the visitor to sign in and out. It's very important. Also, responsibility for others in the care home is to comply with the health and safety procedure. No smoking, so you can't see care worker stand smoking somewhere in the premises because it's not allowed. And also reporting any visible hazard or danger. For example, anything you see, let us say you saw one of your colleagues smoking, you need to report it, or maybe speak to him first and then report it. So you need to report any dangerous thing could happen in the workplace. Also, you need to follow anything provided about health and safety. So you need to ensure to go to the to have first aid box, fire extinguisher is very important. And not for you as a person, what's your responsibility? Not you, and I mean anyone who work in the care home. Their responsibilities is not to mess up with these equipments. If you don't know how to use it, leave it for someone who's been trained to use it. Also, you need to have, everyone needs to have a safe environment. For example, not entering a care setting if they are unwell. So if I'm unwell, I would call my manager and explain to them that I'm not able to come because I'm ill and I don't want to spread the disease, whether it's COVID or flu, or because it's very common now. So what's the responsibilities for others? We've spoken about your responsibility, about your manager's responsibility, and others. What's the other's responsibility is under the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974 is to follow the health and safety practices, policies, and procedure. So if there is any visitor, they should sign the book before they enter the building, sign it when they leave the building. They need to wash their hands, sanitize. All this is very important because elderly people are very, very vulnerable. Also, we need, like other people in the care setting, they need to comply with the health and safety procedure. So they shouldn't be allowed to smoke in the premises. They need to report any hazard could happen in a nursing home. And also not to use it inappropriately for the fire extinguisher, for the first aid box. If you don't know how to use it, if you never had training, then leave it for someone who had training. Also maintain a safety environment. So if you're unwell any day, everyone needs to contact their managers to report that, not to go to the care setting. Why? Because to avoid spreading this illness to others. So far, do we have any questions?
No, so good.
Excellent.
No.
Very good, thank you. So now 1.4, identify tasks relating to health and safety that should not be carried out without a special training. So can you think about a specific task relating to health and safety, but you shouldn't do it without training?
First aid.
Very good, very important. You shouldn't be doing first aid if you don't know how to do that, if you never had any training. That's excellent. So the responsibility of the employer is to provide you with this type of the training. Any other things you might think of that you need training to do it? Talking about the manual handling, Do you still remember? Was the manual handling? It's moving people, yeah? So manual handling is all about moving and handling. So this is all the specific tasks which is required training. So you just say there are specific tasks, need everyone to have a training before they do it. Otherwise, help themselves, help others, or make the environment unsafe for others. So first of all, moving and handling. So if you move your client from their bed to the chair or other way around, you need specific training for that. Yeah. Another thing you need training for is using equipment, fire extinguisher, first aid box. All this, it needs proper training. Also the administration of first aid. So for you can't give someone any specific medicine or anything, or any cream for if there is any severe burn, if there is any cut. You shouldn't be dealing with this if you have never been trained to do it. Also the administering of the medication. So these medications should be recorded, and also if you do any recording, any take temperature, any change dressing for the people, all this need training. So when you first start, they need to give you proper training. You shouldn't be doing any medication, any recording for these medication, or any recording for the people. And also you can't take temperature for the people. You can't change their dress without take proper training. Also food handling, food safety, for food hygiene, all this need proper training. So when you prepare food, you need always to have the right training. So you need hygiene procedure to follow when preparing the food. Otherwise, the food will not be hygienic and the people will suffer. So is this clear?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So to answer this question, identify tasks related to health and safety that should not be carried out without training. You just come back to this graph and think about it, or write it in your own way, because these are mainly the tasks that require training. So now, if we go to
Lana, you didn't send me unit 6, okay?
yes, yeah, this is all unit 6. Thank you.
Yeah, but you didn't send it to me. Unit 6.
Didn't I? Okay, I'll send it today.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So more explanation about each one of these. So it's good to have a little bit more explanation than just put in the bullet points. So for example, you need high quality, to provide high quality care and support. You need proper training. So you have all the knowledge, all good practice, you know, and everything about how to care for the people, how to keep yourself safe, how to keep other people safe, and avoid putting yourself in any risk. So as we talked about here, you need proper training to use equipment. So to use the equipment, so you should not use any equipments such as moving people, handling equipment without a specific training. Make sure that you receive training before you do this, otherwise you will hurt yourself, you will hurt others. You might do wrong way of handling the equipment. Maybe you will drop it, break it. Also, you might have wrong way of handling people, and maybe you drop them and then they would hurt their back. So always make sure you have right training. Also, first aider. You must never give first aider without having or receiving proper training. Otherwise, you might do wrong item to put on cuts. Also, for example, if there's any broken limb, any hands or legs being broken, it is always ensure that you call the first aider. If you do something by yourself, you might might give them more injuries. So you need to make sure that you have the right training. Also, medication. If you don't have proper medication, you might not know which medication to be given, the timing, the hours, the side effect of the medication. There are so many things. If you give incorrect medication to the people, you will harm their health. And also, after you give the people a medication, you need to know how to observe them, observe their situation. Are they getting better? Are they not? This is all need training. Also, you need training on health care procedure. So what is it all about? These procedures are always changing. Why? Because the management might put a procedure in place, but then they realize there are so many accidents has happened. And even though they have right procedure, with all these accidents, they think, well, you know what? We need to change the procedure. Then the procedure might change from time to time. Then you need to be up to date with the procedure and how you can follow it. And like taking the temperature of the people, the blood pressure, requires special training. All this need to be learned before in hand. Also, if you do the blood pressure, you need to record it correctly. You need to know how to record it, when to record it, how to deal with it. If it is really high, who to report it to. So all this needs training. Also, food handling is very important. Why? Because food is very risky if you don't handle it properly. If you, for example, reheat the rice twice or more than twice, 3 times, 4 times, you would build up lots of bacteria in this rice, and then the people will suffer. So you need proper training. If you put in the fridge cooked food and non-cooked food in the same shelf, that is very dangerous. So all this needs provide proper training. You need to know provide proper training as well. If you, for example, if you go and help people in their houses, you need to provide proper training. You need to know what's the temperature for the cooked food. For example, if you cook chicken for the people, you need to know, is it cooked, is it not, how to do it. You need to know what's the temperature for that. Is it boiling? You need to, otherwise it's very harmful for the people. Could be fatal, could be, it could kill them. Okay, so all this to answer 1.4. All the tasks related to health and safety that should not be carried out without special training. Now explain how to access additional support and information relating to health and safety. So how would you access additional information and support? Do we know? This is because
manager.
Very good, excellent, very good. Main resource for the information. If you don't know anything, if you just started, the best resource for the information is your manager, because they are the people who put the policy and procedure. They have lots of information about the area, about the staff, about the people who are there in care. and how to comply with the policy and procedure. All this is from your manager.
Mhm.
Any other resource for the information?
Pardon?
Any other resource for the information?
Work colleague?
Your colleague.
Very good.
Website?
Your work colleagues. Excellent.
And also websites?
idea.
Very good. Excellent. So for you, if you don't know anything, the manager is not there, you can't just sit and not do anything. You need some information. You can ask your colleagues. Maybe they've been in the business for much longer time. So you can get lots of information from them. So you can follow the best practice possible in the health and safety tasks. They may also give you lots of information and show you how to do the safety techniques, not only giving you information, but maybe also show you how to do it, which is very important. Like, for example, carrying out health and safety checks, how you do it, about the smoking alarm, how you make sure you monitor it, how is it working, is it not working? All this information, you can take it from your colleagues. Also, you can get information from your trade union representative. So they are very important. So each one of you would have an opportunity to be part of the trade union. You pay for this trade union, and then you be part of it. You get all the support, all the information you need. They help you a lot. If you have any problem, they help you to solve it. If you any dispute with the employer, they help you as well. So what they can help you, this trade union representative, they can help you, support you with all the information you need about health and safety concerns. For example, in relating to observing and safety procedures, practices, they help you with that. If you don't feel that you are competent, they would ask you exactly, they will tell you exactly what you need to have a training for. So it is very important to have information from them. Also, in every organization, you have a health and safety officer. So I get all the information from the health and safety officer in the care setting. So they may be a manager, there may be another senior member of staff. So any care organization, then they have health and safety officer. And you can get all the information, all the training from this person. Could be about any changes in health and safety legislation. Suddenly change the legislation, you don't know what's the new legislation, you just go to the health and safety officer, get the information you need. Also, you can get information from the health and safety executive. They can provide you with the useful publication and maintain health and safety in the care setting. They can provide you with any publication they have, which is very important to your work. Also, we have the Care Quality Commission. So from the Care Quality Commission, I can get all the information I need about health and safety standards. What is accepted from adult care setting. Also, I can get information from sector skills councils. What are sector skills councils? Like, give me examples, such as care and skills for health, that provide useful information and how to maintain high quality safety at work is very important. Also, so you can get more information from books, from journals, maybe searching online. So all this are good resources for information. Now, explain why it is important to assess health and safety risk posed on by the work setting, situations, or by particular activities. So why it is important to assess the health and safety risk? Do we know the reason why it is important to assess the health and safety risks? Yeah, anyone?
To prevent hazard, risk and hazard to an individual.
Very good. So if we assess this, so we know how big or large this hazard, the danger, what's the potential harm on people? Is it really dangerous? Then we have to work immediately on it. Is there any accident happening all the time from certain situation? Any ill or any death or damage has happened? So if we assess that, we know what we need to take care of in the future.
Yes.
Yeah. So the hazard in the work setting can include many things. Maybe wheelchair is not being working properly. Walking aids, if they are not checked for safety and people use them, they might fall. Broken furniture, they might sit on them and they broke when they sit on them, they cause injuries. Also, lots of situations like these situations might harm people, make them distressed. So if an adult worker, for example, forget to wipe spillages, then people might fall over it. Visitors, they might leave the building and we don't record them, and suddenly there is a fire and we don't know whether this person is still in the building or not. So it's very important to do all this for health and safety. So now if we also explain why it is important. So this is all you can talk about. Like I would be talking about, we need to assess the hazard in the organization to make sure that we deal with them. We know what's the potential size of these dangerous situations and we work on them to eliminate any danger happening to any of the people we care for. So for example, if there is any wheelchair is broken, we need to not use it. We need, because this could be a big hazard for the people to use and then they fall because it's broken. Also a walking aid, if it is not safe to use, the people might fall. Broken furniture, they might sit on it and break it and then they hurt themselves. Also situations like for example, if the adult worker forget to wipe spillages, then this people will fall over it. They might hurt their back. And a visitor leave the building, as we said, not recorded, then there's suddenly a fire. Particular activities. So activities can also pose danger. Also, there are many activities could pose danger. So for an adult care worker who cleans the floor using detergent and then forget to return the lock securely on the cupboard, on the chemical cupboard, and then that would be very dangerous. Why? Because maybe people come and swallow it accidentally, because it looks just like any bottle of water or any bottle of things or juice. Also, if we support personnel for their hygiene, we need to wear gloves. So if we don't wear gloves, we will spread the infection if they have any infections, or if we deal with body fluid and could easily spread diseases. Or so we need to make sure about this as well. So, and also adult care worker who doesn't follow the individual moving and handling guidelines, if they don't follow the procedure properly, they would hurt themselves, they would hurt the people who are taken care of. So all these situations could happen in the work. So how we assess health and safety risk. So assessing health and safety risk form part of our responsibility. Anyone who works in care is responsible to assess health and safety risk at work. So risk assessment is a requirement of the management or of health and safety at work regulation 1992. So there are 5 steps to follow to do this, which is first step. So here, when you answer this question, you need to give examples why it is important to assess the health and safety, because there are so many situations. As we said, we talked about so many situations. If we don't assess the health and safety procedure, then we might hurt ourselves, we might hurt others. Just talk about these examples. And also we need to talk about how we can assess them. Sorry. Okay, so it is very important to assess health and safety risk. So you can just answer this question just by giving 3 types of risks. We talk about so many risks now. Just give 3 types of risks and how you can assess them, what task you would carry yourself to assess them. Then also, yeah, sorry.
Just saying, okay.
Yeah, and then you need to talk about what's happening if these risk assessment not being followed. So how we answer the question? How you assess? For me, I would just talk about, first of all, I need to say 3 examples about hazard things, like if I don't know how to do proper training for handling, I would maybe start handling people, and then they might fall from me and they have their back, or I have my back. Also, another thing you can talk about. I gave you too many examples there, just 2, 3 or 4 examples. And then you say, first of all, to assess any risk, I need first to identify this risk. In the work setting, I know what's the situation, particular activities. I need to assess risk about all these situations. Second thing, I need to identify who might be harmed. Is it my clients? Is it myself, my colleagues, the visitors? So I need to know who's going to be harmed from these activities if it is not being done correctly. Third step of the evaluation, I evaluate the risk and decide what the benefit of taking the risk. Is there any benefit of taking risk? Because for any activity you do, there is a risk involved. Is it beneficial to do this activity, or there is just risk for no benefit? Then if there is no benefit, I wouldn't do it. But if there is any benefit, I should do it anyway, but make sure that I I have proper training to do it, so I do it correctly. So you evaluate the risk and decide what's the benefit of taking this risk. Is whether existing control measurements are sufficient as well. Is there any proper procedure followed? So I can reduce this risk. Another thing I can do, I document the risk assessment, because I just done the risk assessment. I need to document it. Use it in my work setting documentation and follow it. Then now I've done this risk assessment, I need to review it. Like every day, let us say I'm doing proper risk assessment, but after 2-3 months, I need to review my risk assessments, all of them. What's the outcome? Did we have lots of accident anyway, even though I've done my risk assessment? If yes, then maybe I need to change the way I'm doing it. So review and update your risk assessment. The ones especially require regularly. When there is any changes in the hazard, if there is any changes, if there are more accidents happening in a different type of accidents, then I need to update my risk assessment. Start looking at these specific points. Okay, so to answer this question, why it is important to assess health and safety situations. So it is important because I need to monitor. First of all, there are so many risks involved in a care setting, and I need to assess this health and safety risks. That's why I do proper risk assessment. Why? You can give 3 examples. Just say, if I do the manual handling, I need to do it to have proper training, for example. Otherwise, I might make the people fall and hurt themselves. Also, you can have another example like care worker clean the floor with detergent, but then they forgot to put the lock on the cupboard. Then one of the clients didn't know what is this bottle and swallowed it. That's very dangerous. And also supporting the individual with their proposal, personal hygiene, required effectively wearing the PPEs. So if I don't wear the PPEs, this will spread diseases, spread illnesses. If I deal with any body fluid, and the person is ill, I will spread it for other people who I work for. Also, if I don't follow the individual moving and handling, I might get them to fall. So there are many situations. Also, just give the three situations and talk that it is very dangerous. If I don't assess the danger, if I don't do a proper risk assessment, if I don't monitor it and review it, these accidents will still happen in the nursing home. And then people might hurt themselves, I might hurt myself, and also I might cause dangerous accidents or illnesses. That's why people should always follow the health and health and safety procedure. They should always do proper risk assessment and to monitor it at all times. Why? Because this health and safety regulation are changing from time to time, so we need to follow the most current one. So is this clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Now explain how and when to report potential health and safety risk which have been identified. So when and how and when would you report health and safety risks? So let us go to 2.2. So when and where would you how and when would you report potential hazard? So if there is, for me, to report something, I need it to be existed, yes? So first of all, if there is any health and safety hazard being identified, I need to report it. If things are not done properly, not sufficient enough, and the people are getting injured or ill because of this, then I need to identify it and report it. So all identified health and safety risk must also be reported after I identify the problem. Like I see there is a faulty machine and people are getting electric shock. Let us say one of the people I care for. And then second or third day, I saw the other guy coming and telling me that he had electric shock. So first of all, I need to identify it. So I need to know that this machine is faulty because it has so many issues. Then I need to report it. It's very important. There is no point of identifying faulty things without reporting it. So I report it. Then I can minimize this danger, which could affect myself, affect others. So my responsibility as a care worker is to support any unsafe situation which can cause risk and identify and also report it. Also, when it says how and when potential, you must also report health and safety risk as soon as you have identified them and or someone has told you about them. Not doing so, you might result in more people being harmed. This danger might spread out if it is illness or more harmful. So at first instant, when you identify a problem or someone report it to you, then you have to inform your manager, and then you ensure that this risk is properly fixed. And also you need to write it down, record it. It's very important. Why? Because so many risks has happened. You tell your manager, maybe the manager is so busy, forget about them. While if you have it a record, then the manager will come back and fix the issue. So the manager has got his responsibility to fix this and also to report it. If there's any injuries or diseases, that he has to report it. Which following the Disease and Dangerous Occurrence Regulation 1995. And any concerns, they have to report it. So you can report the health and safety concerns you have directly to the health and safety executive as well. Your manager will need to report these annual and all such as death of people to the local authority, to the environmental health department. Any food hygiene needs to be reported as soon as possible to the Care Quality Commission. So anything you need to, first of all, you need to identify the issue, the concern, as soon as you find them, and you need to report them. you have responsibility to report it to your manager. Your manager has got responsibility to report it to the local authority, to the Quality Care Commission, to the health, to the safety executive. So you have responsibilities to report all these issues like death of people, hygiene concern, food hygiene, diseases, illnesses. You have responsibility to report it to your manager, and your manager has got responsibility to report it to the other organization. So here, this is just an example for you to see how you can write risk assessment. You will have proper table. All you need is to write the information when you record the risk. So, for example, what's the hazard? You can write if there is any faulty machine, if there is any intoxicating, any food hygiene issues. This is the hazard. You need to write it down. For example, here it says the front door of the care home does not lock securely. That's a like proper dangerous thing. Why? Because anyone can access the care home. People can escape the care home if they have, for example, mental illnesses. That's very dangerous, and they just leave the care home. So this is a danger. And then who might be harmed? You can write down the staff, the employees, whatever. For this, not locking the door, what you put here. What do they put here? You may. So someone who's got less mental capacity might leave the nursing home, and then people might look for him or her. Like people with dementia, who's affected as well, could be harmed if anyone from outside get into the nursing home without permission. What could be done to control this risk? We need contractor to fix the door. And also, in the meantime, members of the staff should be keep record of the and start watching the camera. Keep record of the visitors. Make sure that they are securely identified until we find the right contractor. Who need to take these actions? Then your manager, the staff. You need to write who's the responsible for this. And then when do action need to take place? Thus immediately, and or until the contractor has turned up. Also, have these action being completed. After the completion, you put yes. You put the signature, the date, more information if there is anything to identify about it. So this is how people can do the risk assessment. Just questions you fill in. Now, if we go back to the question, it says, explain how risk assessment can help addresses dilemmas between right and health and safety concerns. So obviously the people who are living in care, they have rights, they are human. We need to give them all the freedom, let us say, many activities they want to do, but sometimes these activities might have effect on the health and safety issues, on the health and safety, their health and safety, others' health and safety, my health and safety. So this dilemma, how risk assessment can help address these dilemmas? Can you think about way that the risk assessment will help to monitor this dilemma between the right of the individual and the concerns we have. So for you as a care worker, you have responsibilities towards the people you care for. Yeah, you have responsibilities for your employer. You have responsibilities towards your colleagues. So all this is a dilemma. If you care for people, people have got their rights to live their life properly. So how the risk assessment might help? If you do a risk assessment, you will identify the risks. Isn't that correct? Yes? Then yes. I would know exactly how can I monitor it? How can I reduce it? All this information I built, I can pass it to my client. I can go to Mr. X or Mr. Y and say, well, if you want me to tell you the truth, you're more than welcome to do anything here because you're a free person, but if you do this act, you will harm other people. How? Let me tell you. And then you tell them all the right information. Mm-hmm. Also, when you do risk assessment, you find out who's responsible for this risk. And here where you can get training, give more training for people. Also, you put measures to protect other people's safety, to change these situations. So an elderly person with mobility issues may not want to have a stair lift installed in their home because the way it will affect the layout of their home. They hate it, they don't want it. Their right is not to have it because they don't want to have it. However, for their safety, they need to, if they go upstairs, they can't climb the stairs. Why? Because it's dangerous for them. They might fall, they might hurt themselves. So having this lift is very important. And also here the book has given you another example. If one of the people you care for may not wish to stop seeing an abusive family, his family is very abusive by talking, by action. So when you do risk assessment, you will find out more information. You will have measures to follow in place. You will be able to manage this risk. Why? Because you know lots of information about it. So this is why we do risk assessment. We do risk assessment where it says here, it says, explain how risk assessment can help address the dilemma between the right and health and safety concerns. So for you, you work with your client. They all have their own lives. They all want their own right of being free and living happily. However, if their right is against health and safety risk, it's very important to do risk assessment, to manage this risk, to check how much risk involved in doing these activities, whether if there is any potential benefit to this person. If not, then maybe not doing it is better. Then you tell this person, your client, pass him or her all the information needed about this risk. Also, when you put these measures, you make sure that the people are protected with your risk assessment, because there are certain procedures you will follow. As I told you, the person who doesn't want a stair lift, it is his right, because the house might look ugly with this stair lift. However, if you do the risk assessment, you would find out that this person cannot climb the stairs. It's very dangerous for him or her, and they are doing it every day. So you got all the information from the risk assessment. You tell your client that this is not good for you, and these are the reasons why. You might get them with a clear mind, understanding how to manage this risk. Also, an individual who experienced difficulties in their mobility due to gaining weight. So if a person who's gaining lots of weight wish to have like 2 desserts in a lunchtime, not only 1 dessert, you can as well do risk assessment. Check if the dessert is going to give him maybe illnesses. Does he have diabetes? So all this is included in the risk assessment. You can check the person weight. Is he gaining weight? Because every day he's taking 2 sweets rather than 1. Other people in the care home taking 1 their lunchtime. So from time to time, you ask the same client to check their weight. All this included in your risk assessment. And then all the information you have, you can tell it to your client, and all supported by the right information. So for you, you need the best practice. And with having the risk assessment is just to have the procedure in place, right procedure, and give the potential client all the information they need to make sure they stay safe. So an individual who has recently moved in the care home wishes to bring them 3 large items of furniture. Then if you do a risk assessment, you would know that these furnitures are really heavy for the people. So if you and your colleague will hold these furniture, you will hold your back, you will drop the furniture and break it. After you do the risk assessment, you can tell your client about all this. Then proper manual handling could be a procedure could be in place to hold these items. So risk assessment, very important. Why? Because to get all the information you need about certain situations, about certain hazards, and then you feed your clients with it, and you give them all the information they need so they can make proper informed decision. With this will give your client more strength, will increase their self-esteem. Why? Because you're involving them in making their own choices, their own decisions, but you give them all the information they need as well, which is very important. Is this understood? Do you have any questions?
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, so when it says explain how risk assessment can help address the dilemma, you just need to talk about what's the dilemma. Like, people have their right, and there is also risk involved when they do these activities. Give lots of examples, just like what I did now, and answer the question. You need to do the risk assessment because this will help you get in all the information you need about this accident, how many times it happens, why it's happening, who's going to be involved in this certain activity or risk, and who's going to be harmed from this activity. All this information I need to report it back to my client, let them know what's the risk involved and how they can eliminate it or avoid it. Now, 3.1, describe different type of accident and sudden illness that may occur in on-work setting. So if I go to 3.1, So what is the different type of accident could happen? Accident is unexpected thing happening, cause damage or injury. And also there is sudden illness, unexpected medical condition could happen. So in the workplace, there are so many accidents, sudden illnesses can happen and can range from being relatively minor or something very serious. So there are too many different types of dangerous situations. So in the adult care, some type of accident could occur more than one time. It's could be regularly happening frequently. And some of them could happen just once. So it depends on how many of these accidents happening, how many times. Is it regarding drinking, eating, moving for the people you care for? Is it physical, mental? So we need to find out more about these accidents and illnesses. So if we were going to describe different type of accident, let us go to different type of accident. So first of all, there are common type of illnesses for adult, like stress, depression, anxiety, working long shift for the people to support their needs. It might give you all this type of illnesses like stress, depression, anxiety. Why? Because your body is not resting enough. Your mental health is suffering. Okay? And this will lead the care worker of being placed under additional stress. So if you work with someone has got dementia, for example, and you don't know whether they do things properly or not, you need 24/7 monitoring to them. This will give you extra stress. Also, there are so many disorders could happening in the workplace. Can you give me example? So if you move the client from one position to another position, but you don't know how to handle him properly or her, you will give them muscular disorders. So the poor working practice is very, very dangerous for these people. And stretching, like lifting, all this we need to do it properly. Also, another accident might happen, like medical conditions, diabetes, asthma, heart attack, and also severe breathing difficulties. All these, epilepsy, all this poor working practice. If you don't know how to deal with it properly, this will escalate. So all these are accidents and illnesses happening in the workplace. There are also common type of accident, like if there is any slips, any trips, any fall. That happens all the time, right? Because people might not, maybe the floor is slippery or their slippers are a little bit old, so they slip and they hurt themselves, they have injuries. And all this, it affects their mobilities, affect their brain. They might have bleeding, bruises, all these cuts. Also, when there is lifting and handling, you could have accident. So So, for example, when you move from position to another position, if the person is unwell, or the equipments are wrong equipments or not used properly, then or even wheelchair not used properly. This is all examples of people having accidents. So these equipments will cause accidents. Example for that, maybe people can get electric shock. Maybe they can be choking. Maybe they can get burned. Also, physical assault, like what is that is more commonly experienced by worker in the healthcare. They start maybe beating the client or hurting them. So all these accidents could happen in the workplace. So when you answer this question, says describe different type of accident, you can give all these examples, and maybe even if you have more examples, talk about it. Now outline the procedure to be followed if accident or sudden illness should occur. So what's the procedure to follow? Which question is that? 3.2. So 3.2. Can you think about something you would do if there is any accident? Any one of these accidents has happened in the workplace?
Wheelchair?
Yes, but yeah, we talked about so many accidents in the question before. Now outline what's the procedure you follow if there is any accident. What's the procedure? Suddenly a man who just fell, one of your clients, and hurt him his scalp. What's the procedure?
Do I call ambulance?
Say again?
Do I call ambulance or?
Very good. You call the emergency service. Excellent. Whether it's police or ambulance, you need someone to come and take care of the situation. Normally, your manager will take care of the situation, but let us say unlikely situation that your manager wasn't there.
Yeah,
Then
no
who's gonna? Yes. Then someone has to take a lead, which is the person who's caring for this elderly person. Then you call the emergency services. Also, you might seek assistance from any senior colleague, maybe someone who's been there in the business for much longer time. Then you can seek their assistance. Or someone who's trained on first aider. It's very important. You go and call the first aider person in the organization if he's still there. It's very important. At all time, the nursing home should have at least one person who's qualified as first aider. However, if you're working on by yourself, let us say you caring for people who live in their house, what would you do if there's any accident taking place? And you never been trained on first aider, so for you, just because you haven't had any train on first aider, that doesn't mean your role is not important. If something like this has happened, any sudden thing happened to your client, then you call the emergency service immediately. Okay? And also, when there is an accident, you call the emergency services. You don't just stand there and look at your client. You need kind words, reassurance that this is not you are okay. You will. Don't worry. Do you have any pain? You need just to be kind to them. You need to give them words, reassurance that they will be fine. And you ask them if there's any pain and where's the pain. So if the emergency service will call you, you have all the information you have. And you need to remember that you know the person-centered care, which is very important. Ensure that you listen to your client, you understand your client, you sympathize with their situation, you respect their privacy. It's very important. And if there is an accident in the nursing home, you make sure that other clients do not gather around him. Otherwise, it will make him more scared. So they don't come anywhere near the scenes. Yeah. Of course, dealing with the situation could be difficult for you because your first time in the organization, but slowly you will learn it more. So you need training. And also you need to call for help. As your colleague said, you need to call 999 for an ambulance or the police in the setting so they come and help you. This will depends on where you're working. If you're working for someone, just one client, you visit him or her at home, then you straight away call 999. But if you were in a care setting, then your manager should call the emergency. Then it will be the responsibilities of your manager. Then you have to go and inform them immediately. Yes? So it is very important to report and handle the accidents properly. And that's why you need the training, proper training, trained staff. Depends on the situation. So if there is any medical professional there, then you get all the information from them. And if you're working in a hospital, then you will find lots of people taking care of this person. You just need to report it. There will be what is it? There will be a nurse come in, or maybe A&E doctor will come immediately and take care of this person. Okay, so to answer this question, it says outline the procedure to follow for any accident happening. So I will say if there is any accident happening in the workplace, first, which need to provide first aider. What I need is, if I'm trained on first aider, then I can provide it myself. If not, I can call, go immediately and call the first aider person in the organization. Also, I need to go and inform my manager immediately if it is really dangerous situation, and then the manager will be calling 999. However, if I was working from home, then like not from home, from my client's house, then I need to contact 999 immediately, because there is no one I can report to. Only the person who has a very close relationship to this person, like his daughter or their son or their carers. And also, if there is any sudden illnesses, it's the responsibilities of your manager to report this, your employer. If you're working in a residential care, then it is unlikely to have to take the lead on the health and safe health emergency. So there is a person who's a senior colleague, maybe, who's trained to be the health and safety lead in the organization. You need to go and call them. Maybe it's your manager, so you need to inform the management as well. And also you need to, even if you're not trained, you still need to be empathetic to the person, sit next to them, talk to them properly, make sure they are not scared, they are not worrying about themselves. Make sure that people are not gathered around them, because this will make them even more scared if they are in the nursing home. And also you need to ensure that you know what's person-centered. You need to listen to the people, to the individual, can respect their privacy, respect their wishes, and straight away call 999. If you are in a nursing home, maybe just inform the manager and they will be doing the rest. Is this clear?
Yes.
It's okay.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Now, explain the cause and spread of the infection in the care setting. So what's the causes and of the spread in the care setting? That is which number? 4.2. We will get back to these when we do the reflective account. Now we need to go to 4.2. Okay, this is 4.3. Where's 4.2? Where's 4.2? Can you, in the meantime, think about the question? What's the cause of and spread of infection in the care setting?
You have to be always clean.
Very good. Not cleaning the area,
Yeah.
that will spread the infection. Very good. What
Yeah,
else?
because they are more sensitive. Yeah. What else we think? The visitor.
Very good. If the visitor do not wash their hands properly, that will cause infection.
Yeah.
If they have any illnesses not being checked for, like COVID, they will spread the infection.
Yeah.
If you haven't got proper training about how to handle first aider, maybe that will spread infection.
Yeah.
Any other things you might think of?
The person, me, I'm looking after the person. I have to be more like safety as well.
Very good. So if you don't use the PPEs properly in the right way, that will spread infection. If you don't, if you deal with body fluid without using the appropriate PPEs, then this will spread infection. Any other ways to spread infection? So what spread the infection? Spread the infection, there are lots of bacteria everywhere. So as your colleague said, if we don't clean properly the area, if we don't get our bodies washed properly, all this could spread bacteria, and bacteria cause illnesses. If you have illnesses and never been treated, never been given good antibiotics, then you will spread the infection. Also, the infection could be spread out on another ways. As your colleague said, if we don't use the appropriate PPEs. if we don't check the visitors who getting into the place, so if I don't check them properly for COVID, they might spread COVID inside. If we don't know how to handle certain type of infections, then we would spread disease. Why? Because the bacteria might be very toxic and then to our bodies, and they will be damaging. If we don't know how to handle it, to take proper medication, then we spread the infection. So how can infections spread in the care setting?
And as well, we can say from the person I'm looking after him, he have to be clean as well.
Very good.
Because he can be spread the infection as well.
Excellent, very good. So not only me, I have to clean my hands, I have to wear PPEs, I have to make sure that my client is always clean, and because any dirty bodies might spread viruses or bacteria, or so we need to make sure of the clean and hygiene of the area. Also, if this person, if any of these people has got infection, if they are in a large group of people, if we don't isolate them, keep them in with large number of people, this will spread infection. Yeah. So, for example, if a care worker who's got disease or illness didn't isolate, didn't stop from going to work, didn't inform their manager, that will spread the infection very fast. So maybe not only the client, maybe myself. So I need to make sure that I don't have any diseases before I go to work. Yeah. If you sneezing, if you have your body is healthy, maybe influenza, maybe it's flu, maybe COVID, you need to not to go, otherwise you will spread this infection. Also, when you take care of the people, if they are ill themselves, that might spread the infection. Also, the food, if we reheat some of the food so many times, that will spread bacteria. The food can be contaminated, yeah, and this bacteria is very infectious. That people might have food poisoning. It might kill them if they have no good immune system. Also, the spread of these individuals could the spread of the diseases happening in the nursing home. Why? Because the elderly people are very vulnerable, so infection can spread very fast. So the person who's the elderly people, if they are unwell, they cannot fight it. Why? Because their immune system is really weak. Then if they are sitting with other people in the care home, they are not separated, they can spread the infection. So infection can be spread in the care setting in different ways, such as when physical contact to the people, to the person who's infectious, or through the food, if it is unhygienic, could be contaminated. Also with, for example, it's got salmonella in the food, and this will make people feel ill. Or chicken not being cooked well, or maybe illnesses like chicken pox, or difficulty in the breathing. So all this could spread very fast. So and also any other ways to, if there is any body fluid, like let us say there is a blood or cut from one of the people who already have some viruses or bacteria, or the cut, all this blood, it might be continue some of the bacteria, and that will be infectious for others. Might have any type of disease, viruses. So all these ways are ways to spread the diseases and illnesses in the care setting. Now explain the importance of ensuring that others are aware of So explain the importance of ensuring that others are aware of own whereabouts. What does this mean? What's the importance of this?
This is, I think is right or not, but just what I understand, this is, we have to let them know what they are.
Yes.
Oh yes, this is the question or no?
Any other person can contribute as well? Yeah.
Like the place where they're important in it, or?
Sorry, say it again.
The place, how they important in the place, or how they responsibility, or this is what the question is, it or?
Yeah, the question is explain the importance of ensuring that others are aware of own whereabouts. So let us go to 8.1. Where is it? So far, did you understand everything?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. If you don't understand, please straight away ask me so we repeat it. I'm happy to repeat everything as long as you understand, can do good work. That's very important to me. Point 1. It's 8.3. Can you see all the information in the book? But all you need is to read the book properly, understand it before you do your coursework. So this is 8.3. Explain the importance of ensuring that others are aware of your whereabouts. So for you need always to make sure to tell your manager where you are if you are not in the care setting. So for example, my work today is between 9 to 5. One of the clients asked me to bring some tomatoes or some food for her or something. So I can't just leave the setting without informing someone. I need to make sure my manager knows, or my supervisor, one of my colleagues, there is someone I need to report to. Yeah? Why? It is very important. First of all, an accident might happen to you. No one knows where are you. Nothing. You didn't take your mobile. You didn't take your bag. Just you took some money from this client and gone. So if your manager wouldn't know that you're out, that would be a problem. Also, they might think you're not attending that day, and they might not. They might sack you because they think, hey, she didn't even come or even bother to let us know that she is not attending today. So it is very important to report where you're about on that time. So you need to ensure that others are aware of where you are at that moment. If you were at work, you need to report to your manager. Also, if you need any assistance, let us say you're out, but you with the client, you're taking her for shopping, and then suddenly stuck because the client has had an accident. She fell, or she hurt her back, or then you need an assistant. You can't get an assistant if you never told these people about where you are. Yeah. So you need to ensure that you always inform your manager or the supervisor where you are at that moment. If you, like if you were going to leave the setting during work time, you need to inform them where you're going, just in case a fire has happened in the care work and you are not there. They think they are there, and then you didn't go to the assembly area, and then your manager will be very stressed. He might get in to get you out of the place, even though you're not there. So it's very, very dangerous. You need to inform people about where you are, where you're going if you're leaving your work for any reason during working hours. Also, to make sure you get the assistance needed. So if you go with one of your clients and suddenly you had an accident, injury in the road, then you can get an immediate assistant. If you become ill suddenly, what would you do with the client? Because she's with you and she's under you're monitoring her, but you're in the middle of the road. And so if they know where are you can just call them and get more assistance. Also, it's important that others are aware of where you're about, so that they know that you are safe. You may be working with individuals who have history of violence. Like if your client has got history of violence and suddenly your manager look for you, can't find you, they would think something happened to you. This client maybe like physically attack you, or then that's why you need to let your manager know. Okay, so this is the importance of ensuring that you make everyone know where you're about during working hours. It's very, very important. Now, identify common signs and indicators of stress in self and others. So what are the common signs of stress?
That's we have to know if they are stressed.
Yeah, but is there any common, you look at the
From the
person
face,
and you realize that they have stress? For us, our life is very busy. Like if we work in care, if we work in any other sector, our life is really busy. There are so much pressure on the people. Their mental health might get affected because of their any particular issues in their personal life, in their work statement. And this pressure will start building up, and maybe people wouldn't be able to manage it, and this will turn into stress. So if the stress is not managed early, in the early stage, it can have significant impact not only on the person health and well-being, but also on the workforce in the care setting. Why? Because some of them will disappear because of the stress. I wouldn't come back. And then the ratio between the employees and the people you take care of will be different. Why? Because you will have more people to take care of. You will take some of your colleagues' clients. That will build more stress in yourself as well. Will affect your well-being and health situation. So there is work stress related, and also depression, anxiety. This is all affect your situation. So first help to prevent your stress from developing into something more serious, like mental health issues. You need to watch the common signs What's the common signs that the person may experience, but it will show on his their work, the way they appear. So physical signs, indicators, these can include tensions, also like the heartbeat will be higher, your blood pressure will be higher. It might cause stress, stroke, you might be dizzy, you might have diarrhea, might be constipation. It depends on your situation. You might be becoming very angry, very cold, very like the way you act towards people will be different. All this is the physical signs. Yeah. Also, there are other signs which are emotional signs, indicators. What are these? These are low mood. Maybe you feel irritable. Suddenly something can make you angry for no reason. You feel anxious. You feel worried. You don't want to be there. You feel unhappy and angry at all times. Also, mental signs. What are the mental signs? Include the concentration, the memory are all gone. Suddenly your manager talk to you about one of the clients, you will be staring at her face because there are no concentration, no memory, nothing. And also unable to think logically. Suddenly any situation happening, you just do some silly things because you're not thinking properly, not thinking logically. Also, there is behavioral science indicators, like you're unable to sleep. You just wake up in the night and you can't sleep thinking. Eating more, you go to the fridge in the night and start eating too much. You may lose weight. Even though you eat too much, you lose weight because you're burning too much, you're thinking too much. You're very withdrawn from people. So all these certain situations which need monitoring, that's a behavioral science. Okay, so if you answer this question, you need to talk about all these signs. So identify common signs, indicators of stress in self and others. Now identify circumstances and factors that tend to trigger stress in self and others. So what could any factors or any circumstances that trigger the stress? Can you think about any circumstances might create stress for people? So here the book tells you to choose just two. So for me, I can answer, I can say things might trigger stress in my workplace. Could be that one of my colleagues or more than one of my colleagues are ill in the same day, maybe ill for a longer period of time, like a week, and then I have to take care of more people. Then this will make me stressed because some of the people I don't know, I need to check their care plan, their medical situation, if they have allergies. Also, I need to talk to each one of these clients. I need to take care of them. Having more people in my care would give me more stress, more work to do. And it is very short time, and I can't take off all of them in the same time. This will give me stress. Another situation where you can't get stressed. Can you think about another situation? It's handling one of the situations where you haven't got proper training and your manager is not there. This could trigger stress. Like you need the training. If I need training for if there is any manual handling I need to do for one of the clients because she can't move from her chair or want to go back to her bed, and I don't know the right procedure, this will give me stress, and especially if my manager wasn't there. Or maybe one of my clients, another example, one of my clients is sometimes very aggressive, and this is giving me lots of anxiety, lots of stress, because I don't know how to handle him, and I couldn't even get a proper training for that, and this is being giving me some anxiety at work. Yes, so to answer this question, identify circumstances, factors tend to trigger stress in self and others. Just talk about any 3 examples. Let us say one, because self and others. So this is 2 about myself. I'm going to give one example about others. I say in the care home, one day we had one person who's got COVID, one of the people we care for, and we isolated him. However, all the people in the care home had so much stress and anxiety because they're all elderly people and they have very low immune system, a very basic immune system, and they were really worried that they might catch the disease themselves, so they start acting as if they had it, and that giving me and my colleagues even more stress because we were worried about them. Was it a real sign of COVID? So we had to do so many times, we had to do COVID check for them so many times every day, just to make sure they haven't caught the disease, and we tell them about the result, and still they are very stressed and very worried. Yeah. So this is another example as well about others. How about describe ways to manage stress and how to access sources of support? How to manage stress. So if I go to 9.3. How to manage stress? For me, like, I'm a person, like just like you. I have so many stressful things in my life. So how can I manage my stress? I'm always try to be positive. Even if the situation is not positive, I try to look at the best things in any situation. So for you, the best way to fight stress is by being active, being positive. Yeah, so being active, this means not only physically, but mentally. For example, doing walking. I do walk a lot, so if you feel stressed, just go for a walk. And during evening, I do in the morning because it's better, especially in the weekend. So what you would need to do if you're stressed, if you feel that there is too much pressure on you, go for a walk. And if you have long shift, maybe do some crosswords just to make you happy. The brain activities will ensure that you stay active. And bathing activities, maybe you go and have a nice warm bath after hard working day, so you can release the stress from your body. So and this will make you feel a lot calmer, a lot happier. And then also you need to stay positive. You need to think about what's positive in every situation. Like even the most difficult situations, there is at least one positive thing you can think of. So thinking about what's going on well, rather than focusing on the wrong things. Like any situation could happen, just focus on what you've done correctly. Don't focus on the negative things. Otherwise, you will stress yourself even more. Maybe ask for training, so to cover yourself. Learn how to do things properly, but don't focus only on the negative things. And in this way, you can handle the difficult situations. So being active, also being in contact with others. If you have a nice, healthy relationship and friendships, you always go to have social events with others, meeting people, that will release the stress, because you will have lots of things to talk about. When you talk about things, you feel like they are gone off your shoulders. If you keep yourself isolated, thinking about it, this will affect your mental health. Also, you can help others. When you do things for others, you will feel good about yourself, because they will thank you. They will appreciate it, make you feel perfect, make you have self-confidence, self-assurance that you're doing really well for others. Also, you need to learn how to say no. That's very important. Why? Because maybe your supervisor thinks your work is good, then give you lots of activities to do, but you can't physically do all this. Sometimes maybe you say, well, I'm happy to do it, but can you bring other people to help me, because I am not able physically to manage all these activities. Maybe if your colleague said to you, can you please cover me today because I have things to do, then you should say no. If you're tired, don't go. Just say no, sorry, not today. I'm very stressed. I need to release my stress. And also make some time for yourself. Go and enjoy some activities you like, some hobbies. And also access any support that you can get, any training, any there are some training about how to handle your stress. Please ask for them. If you have any stress, ask your supervisor to provide you with, or your manager. Is this clear so far?
Yes.
Excellent. So this is how ways to manage stress and access source of support. What's the source of support? Source of support is my manager. So if I have any stressful situation, I just go to my manager and let them know about the stressful situation I am in. They will provide me with extra assistance, just in case I have so much things to do and suddenly my client doesn't want to do things and she's really upset and sitting somewhere. This will add extra pressure on you. You need to get things done. Then you can ask for assistance. Your manager, your colleague, anyone who works with you. From supervisor. Supervisor might show you how to do it properly. So that will teach you how to manage your anxiety, not only the people's stress, your stress as well. So all this to answer question 9 point, where is it? 9.3. So now if I close this one, I go back to the reflective account. Explain own rules and responsibilities as an employee and those of the employer in the prevention and control infection. So what's your responsibility to control infection? You need to talk about yourself here. You see, this is reflective account. Do you have any responsibilities to prevent infection? Can you think of one? We talked about the infection just now. How we can prevent the infection? What's your responsibility
as someone who works clean?
Sorry, I was talking. I didn't hear you saying things. Could you please repeat it?
We have to be always clean.
Excellent. That's very, very good point. So we need to wash our hands As soon as we enter the place, as soon as we handle someone's like body fluid, I need to wash my hands. And as soon as I feed someone,
the client as well.
Very good. Any other things you can think of? So cleanliness is very important for you and for your client. So you need to wash your hands when you enter the setting.
And for the visitors as well, they have to be like sanitized as well.
Very good, excellent. Not only us, not only my client, but the visitor as well. I need to make sure to ask them to wash their hands before they get in, because it's very important. Well done. Any other things you can control infection?
As well, when you're providing the food or coffee or drink. Yeah.
Yeah, what would you do if you're providing all this?
You have to make sure everything is clean and
well done. Yes, very good. So when you're serving any food, any drinks, you make sure all the trays, all the cutleries, everything you're using are all clean and sanitized.
Yes.
Any other things you can think of? You always need to use PPEs. Make sure that if you handle any body fluid, you do any cleaning, light cleaning, mopping, anything, you need to make sure that you wear the right PPEs, like face mask, like gloves, aprons. Very, very important. Any other things you can think of? How you can fight infection?
Yeah, as you said, we have to provide the food very good cook, otherwise this is gonna be infection as well for them.
Very good. So the food should be hygienic. Everything is clean.
Yeah.
For you to answer this question, you need to talk about yourself. So if I was going to respond to this question, I will say, as a carer, I work in a care setting. My own responsibility is to make sure that that I always try to prevent infection or control the infection. And the way I'm doing this, I make sure that my hands are clean at all times. Also, I use protective equipment as soon as the employer provides it, like gloves, aprons, face mask. And also I make sure I have the right training that I need, like for all the health and safety, for all the prevention, control of prevention, and prevention of the infection. And I need, if one of my clients has got any illnesses, I need to isolate them, make sure to take care of them, but not to mix them with others, otherwise that will spread the disease. I need to make sure my clients is always clean, otherwise this could spread bacteria or infection. I need also to, if there is any spillages on the floor, I need to wipe it off just in case there is any infectious body fluid or anything. I need to clean it with the disposable materials and throw it away. Also, I need, can you think about other things you can do for to control infection? I need to report it. Yeah, so if there is any infection has happened, because it says prevention and control. So for controlling the infection, if there is anyone who's ill and this illness is spreadable, I need to make sure my client is is isolating. Also, I need to report it to my manager if because I'm working in a nurse setting, in a care setting, then I need to report it to my manager. But if I was working with my clients from home, then I need to pass this information to the Care Quality Commission. And I need to make sure that I handle food properly. I have right, because it's very infectious. If the food is not hygienic, I need to make sure I don't heat up the food more than once or twice, otherwise that will create bacteria. Okay, so you can write about all this, but you need to write about your own activities. This is how I do it. This is how I control and prevent infection in the care setting. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Now demonstrate the recommended method for handling washing, for hand washing in the setting. So what's the recommended, says demonstrate, so you need to show here. For me, if I was coming to your place, I would be asking you, can you demonstrate it for us? But because at the moment I'm not coming to your workplace, we better answer this question on paper. Then if you have any work placement, would be great, so I can come and check it with you. But now, how can you do your hand washing in the care setting? So let us go to 4.3. In the meantime, do you know how to handle the washing? How you do the hand washing?
Yeah, first of all, we have to wash the hand and sanitizer.
Yeah, we done this, I think, in the unit before that.
Yeah.
So first of all, we need to wet our hand. So if I was going to answer this question, I will talk about myself. So I say in the care setting, I make sure I wash my hands as soon as I arrive, and also after I touch any thing could be contaminated or anything dirty. The way I do it, I wet my hands with the water. Then you start explaining one by one of these activities, how you put the soap, how you rub your hands palm to palm. Yes, exactly. Very good. How can you rub the fingers together? And then the back to the back, and then in between the fingers, and how you can rub the back of the fingers to the palm of the hand.
Between the nails.
Very good. And how can you rub your thumb? How can you rub your nails to the palm of the hand? After that, how you wash, how you rub. Then I would rub each wrist with opposite hand. After that, I rinse my hands with water and close. Make sure to turn off the tap with my elbow so I don't get my hand dirty again. And then I need a disposable tissue just to dry my hands. Okay? So you need to say it just like, and then I need to, if there is any drying machine, I can dry it. And after that, hand washing, I do it between every 15 to 30 what's that? Yeah, so you need to do it whenever it's necessary. Okay, so this is how I respond to this question. I talk about my own experience. Demonstrate how recommended method. I just talk about it as if it's my own experience. So what I would do, I always wash my hands when I get into the care center. always whenever I get in contact with anything dirty or anything contaminated, I wash my hands, and this is how I do it. I put water, I put soap, I rub the palms, I rub the finger, just explain it the way it is now. Yeah?
Yeah.
As if you're doing it in front of me and you're telling me how you're doing it. Now demonstrate the use of personal protective equipments and when to use it. So if I go to 4.4, we all know what PEP is? Or do you want more explanation? What's the PPE?
What is it?
Is the personal protective equipment. So I always use apron, I always use gloves, I always use face mask when it is needed. And now the question says, demonstrate the use of personal protective equipment and when to use it.
When we use it?
Yeah. So I use these personal protective equipments when there is a need to use them. For example, if there is any of my clients I need to who's got diarrhea or throw up, any body fluid on the floor, if I need to do cleaning, I have to use the gloves and the apron. If I take in my clients to have a bath, I need to, yes, exactly. Why? Because the gloves is a barrier between the infectious thing and between myself. So I need to protect myself and I protect my client. That's why I wear the gloves. So to avoid the spread of the infection. Also, I need to wear the PPEs like following the policies. Whenever I use it day to day, every day. Why? Because I'm following the policy and procedure in the workplace. Also, I follow the manufacturer instruction. If there is any specific instruction for these PPEs, I follow it correctly. I also wash my hands before using them, after using them, dispose them properly. So this is how this is to answer the question. It says demonstrate the use of how to use them and when to use them. So I use them if there is any person who's infected in the setting, if I need to take my client to have a bath, if there is any if there is anything needs cleaning, if there is any body fluid on the floor, I need to mop it, I need to have this. So for me, the way I use it, I follow the policy and procedure, and also so I use it in the day-to-day activities, follow the manufacturer instruction if there is any specific instructions, and always wash my hands before using them, and after I use them, I need to dispose it properly. Yeah? So they are only effective to be used once. You can't repeat it. I can't hold it or put it in my pocket to use it another time. Otherwise, this will spread infection. Also, if I'm supporting individual with the dressing, with feeding, or maybe I'm preparing meal for them, all these situations where I should use the PPEs. Use agreed ways of working for checking the identity of anyone requesting access to the premises. So 8.1, let us go to 8.1. So what's the right policy and procedure?
We have to check his ID and badge.
Very good. We have to check their identity. Who are they? They may be just strangers coming to their place to harm.
Yeah,
the
their
people.
badge or their idea, or we
Very
have
good.
to
I
show
need
something
to-
we know who they are.
Absolutely. So we need an ID from them. Ask for anything to identify who are they, what's their name, why they are there, what's the reason. I need to know. Did they book to meet that person, or they just announce and invited? All this, and also we need to make sure that this stranger will, after we know who are they and why they are there, we need to ask them to sign the visitor's book.
Visitor, and when we have to report it to the manager as well.
Very
They
good.
know.
Excellent. And when they leave the building, they have to sign again. When they enter, they need to wash their hands, because and they need to wear PPEs just in case they spread any kind of bacteria or viruses or illnesses. Okay, so let us go to 8.1. Let us see if there is anything we forgot to talk about. Okay, so for me, as a person who, like, now I'm responding to the question, because it's reflective account, I need to talk about myself. So I say, for me as a person who work in care, I always make sure I follow the policy and procedure when it comes to people's security. I always follow the security measures being taken by my employer. So if there is anyone who's visiting, accessing the premises, I need to check with them their identity, why they are there. I need to see an ID with picture. I need to make sure that they've been already booked to meet the person who they come to see. And also I need to take consent from that person, from my client, that he's happy to receive this visitor. Okay? And then to follow the agreed ways of working, I need to make sure that these visitors, they sign the entry book. They have their name there, just in case if there's any fire or any accident happening, at least we would know that this person is still in the building. They need to sign it out when they leave. It's very important. We need to give them a temporary badge to know who are they and why they are there, their names. And then after that, I need to ask them to wash their hands. It's very important. So, so to agreed, was the agreed ways of working to check identity of anyone requesting to access the premises?
We have to check always their ID.
Okay, very good. We need to check their ID. So before I allow any visitor, I need to stop and think why they are there, who they are coming to meet. I need to ask all the right questions. Am I allowed to to let this person in? Do I need to report it to my manager? So I need to go and report it to the manager or the person who's my supervisor before I let them in, because they're not booked in that day. So there is a potential risk that this person might harm the elderly people who are visiting them. And they need to inform in advance. So if they haven't informed us in advance, I need to make sure to report them. And then I need to escort them. So I need to be with this person while they are visiting, and take a consent from the people who they are visiting. So I need to ask politely to wait outside to go and check with my manager if this person is booked. Also need to get consent from the person who they are visiting. If they don't recognize him, if someone is in the setting haven't seen before, he's coming to meet someone, but you never seen this person before, then you need to know the who are they, why they are there. You get all the information. Make sure you stay with them, and also escort them to exit the building after they finish. They need to sign the booklet just in case if any emergencies. At least we know who is in the building and for how long they've been there. Also, I need to use the security measures which is fitted in the property, like all the cameras, the door chains. Make sure that the intercom. Make sure that they are talking to me in the intercom, so I stop them there and get more information about them. So I need to use all the security system in the building. Make sure that the window are even if you like. Make sure that the client even look through the window. They might not remember their names, but if they look through the window, they might know them. So for you, you need to make sure that this person has been identified. And also, you may need to use a key safe to enter into an individual home. That's important. You can't allow other visitor to get in. So let us say you're working with a client who are living in her own home. You can't allow visitors to come in because you're the only one who's having the key, and something happened to this person, then you will be the one to blame. So you need to make sure you take good measures to check who's this person, identify him properly, go to your client and ask him if he consents you to open the door. So they need identity card, you need it from them. And also you need to check that person looks like the person in the photo. You can't just have the ID and not checking it. Think, okay, yeah, that's ID, that's fine. You need to check the name, the picture. It's very important. Also that you need to make sure that you need to report this to your manager. So when you finish with your client, you leave her home, you need to report this to your client, to your manager. You say, well, when I was working for Mrs. Y, certain person, this is his name, this is his age, he came to visit her, she gave me consent to let him in. So all this need to be recorded, just in case something happened to her after you left. It's good to have everything recorded and reported. This good so far?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And after allowing the visitor access the premises, when you confirm the visitor identity, you know them, the people give you consent, then you let them in. It is important to remember the name, to remember the age, who you dealt with. There are some visitors who are unwanted. Your client wouldn't be happy to have them. They wouldn't give you consent. Then you say, I go back and say to this visitor, I'm sorry, but Mr. X is not taking any visitors today. Yeah. You just need to talk about it, about your own skills, your own experience. How would you do it? Just, I do this, I do that, I don't do this in my care home. So now this is the premises. How about the information?
We have to always camera secure.
Yes. So what
Door safety.
you need? Yeah. Yes. What information would you need? So for you, you need the right information. You need the person name. You need to have the right ID with the right picture on. You need to check this with your manager. Is this person being booked in? Do they know who is he and why he is here? And also you need to check with your client. Does he give consent? Does he have any information about this person? And all this information are needed. If you have your client consent, then you can allow them in. Otherwise, no information provided, you don't have the consent from your client, you would not allow this person in.
Okay.
Okay. Now implement measures to protect own security and the security of others in the work setting. So how would you protect your own security and other people's security in the work? This is the last question, by the way. So what's the measures to protect your own security and other security?
We have to always door safety.
Very good, excellent. That's very important.
If
You need
they
always
have,
to make sure.
if they have camera secured.
Yes. You see here when it says on, yeah, implement measures to protect on. That means it's all about you. So you say in the care setting where I work, I always make sure I use security measures. I always check if the doors are locked. I always check with the visitors when they arrive. Who are they? What's their name? I take identity card, ask for consent from my client. Okay. Also, I need to check the windows are all locked. You might open it for fresh air, but you can't leave it open and you go home because your client might get strangers through the window. So all you need to do is to lock the window before. So I lock the window before I go because I always worry about my clients' safety and security. I also make sure in my day-to-day practice that I discuss all this information regarding security with my colleagues, with my manager, check if they carried out any reflection on the security check, if there is any risk assessment is being done. So all this you need to do as well. You need to follow the policy and procedure, which is being used. Well? Say again?
Reported as well to the manager?
Very good. Report it to the manager. It's very important. You need to follow the policy and procedure. So if someone getting in, I need to make sure I ask them to sign in. What's the time? What's their names? If they get out, I need them to sign in again. Time, name, date. I need also to follow the procedure for the security in the workplace, in my workplace, which is the visitors as well. They need to be identified. So all the information should be as well logged into proper cupboard or saved in the computer with a password. Because just in case a burglar came to the building, this is a big security hazard. All the information are there. Also, I follow the policy and procedure of working to ensure security of individual personal property. Make sure that all their bags, their belongings are always safe and secure, no one touching them. Also, I follow the policy and procedure in the emergencies. So if there is any emergency regarding security, I report it immediately. Such as if I lose the key, of the filing cabinet, so anyone can access to this cabinet. I need to even it is like I need to admit it is my mistake, and I have to go and report it to the manager. If there is any broken window, I need to report it, because burglars might come around by using this method. Also, I need to attend the training. So if there is any training, I always make sure I attend the training to maintain security of the building and of the people I work for. Is this understood? So this is to
Yes.
answer this question. Very good. This unit is not difficult. It's a little bit long, but if you think about it, it's all repeat. Like every one of these questions, we repeated it so many times.
Yeah, it is.
So for me, I would suggest if you can start with your coursework today, that would be great. Why? Because the faster is better. If you do your coursework today, you will have a lot of time to think, remembering things.